I'm solo for this one, and this is not Sniper Elite, this is Zombie Army 4. So Zombie Army is a little lesser known version of the game Sniper Elite. Now they're both made by Rebellion, so they both have very similar looks, feels, and kind of just general gameplay. But you get into Zombie Army and it's obvious that this is their not serious version of the game, which is great because if you played Sniper Elite, they kind of go really hard with like a story about a character. Now you still have that same character and some familiar ones, but in this zombie equivalent, it really kind of drops the seriousness. They give you the humor and more of a fun take on that gameplay. The premise of the Zombie Army games is that Hitler has been defeated in World War II. We're still stuck in that World War II time frame, but his last-ditch effort was to raise the dead. And he did, and he may have almost won the war because of that. Now in Zombie Army 3, you fight all the way to Hitler, you defeat him, you send him away. But the army is still there, there's still a lot of cleaning up to do, and into this game you find out that maybe he's not completely gone. The storyline to this game has kind of taken a backseat behind the humor and the action. The action takes you across a bunch of different locations in the post-World War II era. So you go through Venice, you go through some parts in France, you go through some parts in Germany. Some of it is very descript and it'll tell you the city you're going to. Other times you're just in a meat locker kind of fortification and you just have to fight your way through the zombies. The game is kind of set up in the way that Left 4 Dead is, where there's different chapters, and they are related. They do tell an overall story with the same characters, but you hit a new location with each one. It has usually 4 chapters, not always, but it'll lead you from safe room to safe room, and you end each chapter that way. Now, there is a lot of room for growth. You have levels in your character, you have levels to your weapons, you can get perks and level those up. They really went deep with the zombie killing because that's all that you're doing in this game. I'm really glad that they added depth to this game to really bring you along. The locations and the way they change and the different pieces of each location in the chapters are really good and varied, but the action is not so varied. It's a lot of go to this point, to this point, to this point, kill a lot of zombies, finish them all off in the area to open up the gate, and then move on. But that being said, it's really not dry. You can play this game completely co-op, any aspect of it. Any of these chapters you can play co-op, you can join into a horde mode and play that co-op. There's a lot of replayability to this game because as you grow your character and try out different weapons, your playstyle really does change. Some of the characters have buffs to traps, some of them have more weapon or melee damage. That's kind of the angle they go with. And then when you get the weapons, you can add perks and mods to that to shoot fire or shoot electricity weapons. Like I said, it's not very serious and this game does not take itself seriously, and I don't think I could have it any other way. Graphically speaking, this game isn't quite like the other normal huge releases. It is a full price game and rightfully so, but the graphics just kind of look a little bit dated. Now if you play Sniper Elite, you know that it looks good and especially good enough, but when you're moving around in all the action-packed scenes, I feel like the graphics just don't quite hold up to where we are in 2020 now. That being said though, it really doesn't bother me. This game is beautiful for it in other ways. There's a lot of different effects that happen on screen, there's a lot of different enemy types, the way they come apart and the gore in this game, and the different locations, like I said, just really make that not an issue. One part to the game that they cannot change is those sniper slow-mo kills. They're still in Zombie Army, and they're just as spectacular as they are in Sniper Elite. Now, graphically, like I said, it's a little bit toned down, but watching your bullet ricochet through like 5 or 6 or a whole crowd of zombies just kind of gives you a different appreciation for those physics that are involved. The windage really matters, and the weapon drop really does take into account. When you have different rifles and different calibers that you're shooting, you see the difference in the distance, and although you can tweak some of those guns to get an extended range, you have to kind of pick a class and play to that. Audio-wise, this game isn't super spectacular. There's all the zombie noises and there's the right cues to give off what kind of zombie is coming at you, a very important hint. But aside from that, it's just a lot of moaning zombie noises. The gunfire is the same from Sniper Elite, so the job is done there, but it just didn't have any sort of really intense music to pump me up or anything that could have been added on top of this. Now, all things considered though, this game is quite a package. There's a lot to it. It's a super long game. You can play it all co-op, and the action is really fun. There's even some weird boss fights. There's even some weird weapons and melee mechanics going on, and all these different powers going off. It is quite an experience, so I have to recommend this one. My score is an 8.5. Zombie Army 4 is an awesome reiteration of the zombie horde genre. This title has just the right balance of story, action, and humor to keep you playing.
If you like this video and you want to see more like it, check out the channel and give us a subscribe.